Hello and welcome back to another episode of my MotoGP 22 career mode, and today we are here for the 4th and 5th rounds of the season at the Circuit of the Americas and Portimao. Now if you haven't seen the last episode, I do recommend you go check that one out first because, spoiler alert, we managed to win our first race of the season in that episode at Argentina. An absolutely dominant performance. Seems like the AI were a little bit broken at that track for some reason. Their simulated times were a good 3 or 4 seconds a lap faster than what they were actually able to achieve on track, so it was really weird. But sometimes you get that at some of the tracks in the game. And then obviously the other race in that episode, Mandalika, we had a pretty solid race, managed to bring home a 6th position, so that's 3 top 10s from 3 races so far. So hopefully we can try and keep that going, because of course our objective is just to get in the top 15, score points, but our championship objective is top 10s, so I'd like to keep that up if I can. So without any further ado then, let's head into the next weekend. It is Austin, so in the past that's been a good player track, but also on last year's game the AI weren't too bad there actually, and we never played that track in Moto 3 because we did the shortened season in that first season with the COVID calendar. So yeah, don't know what's going to happen, but I'll see you after practice. So then, at the end of practice, I managed to top the timesheets, only just as you can see, 32 thousandths ahead of Dennis Foggia, and that was a proper qualifying push lap with soft power mode 3, so you know, we're not really in the clear here because I'm assuming that AI probably wouldn't have quite gone that way, but I just did it because one of the objectives was to get straight through to Q2. Well, actually you could go through Q1 as well, but one of my weekend objectives is to get into Q2, and obviously, of course, you want to make sure you get into there anyway. I managed to achieve basically all the programs as well, all of the practice programs, except the race pace one where I had to do 5 laps. I did 4 of them, was on the 5th one, and I ran out of fuel, and I did not want to do it again because it was Austin, and 5 laps around Austin takes like 10 minutes at least, so only missing out on one of the objectives, and to be honest, considering how it went last time, where I couldn't do anything because the times were too fast, I'll absolutely take that. So we'll head into qualifying now. Hopefully this is good enough to get us through to qualifying 2. I assume it probably will be, considering that it is top of the session, but you never know, there could be some more simulated times. So here we are then in qualifying 2, and as you can see, we're still top of the pile, so my time was good enough to actually take me top of the weekend, which is always good. That shows that there's no simulated time issues here, unless they're simulated to be too slow, but then they'll have plenty of time when I'm doing my laps on track anyway to do theirs. But coming through Q1 then we've got Ryuza Yamanaka, Alberto Sora, Elia Bartolini, so one of my teammates. Got to watch out for him because one of my objectives as well to get the research data is to beat my teammates in every session, so I have to watch out for that, and Mario Aggi as well. So Yamanaka seems to be doing a lot better as of late. Obviously, if you remember back to Argentina, he went through qualifying 1 with us there, and then put it on the 2nd row of the grid, so Yamanaka might be one to watch for a decent position in this session, to be honest. So we've got Masia behind us here, then Masia's probably going to ride straight through us. Although it does seem like, at this pit lane at least, the problem is not so bad where you're going super slow. Obviously at this point it is, but previously, yeah, in other tracks like Qatar for example, your AI would just go really salt the pit lane and get overtaken anyway. It seemed like here that wasn't so much of a problem, it's just more the revving. Oh, Masia! He's down. I don't know if that was really my fault. I did try to pick up because I assumed he was going to go underneath me. And I wasn't trying to let him through. I was going into that corner like pretty normally. But yeah, I assumed he was going to send it to the inside. Then I thought he wasn't, so I started to tip in again and then he was there. So, a little bit weird that one, but it doesn't really matter because, well, I don't think AI really get bike damage in qualifying, so I'm sure he'll be absolutely fine. So it seems like Foggia, based on the weekend so far, is kind of back on the pace again, because he's had a tough season so far. He's miles down in the championship, but he was, you know, he was the top AI, and he was only a little bit off me, so it'll be Foggia really that's going to be going for the win. Artigas as well on the CF Moto, doing pretty well, so I know some of you will be liking that, to see the CF Moto a bit towards the top. But sadly for you, I'm going to try and put the QJ Motor on top. That's my job, and I need to try and win some more races. McPhee's in 6th place, so he's still about as well. Mino 7th, so all the people that are actually fighting for the championship at the minute, us 3. I'm not really sure where anybody else is. I think Ortola's doing pretty well in the championship as well. Garcia's got to be there or thereabouts. I just know the main 3 are obviously myself, Mino, and McPhee, and that's just because, on the whole, we've finished pretty well in all the races. Aside from Mino obviously having that spill in Termas, where obviously he hit Garcia at the back and fell off. But here we are then, getting ready to start our qualifying lap. Try not to high side myself out the last corner. It's quite easy to high side myself, it seems. I think I'm just, I accidentally did half the practice session with the traction control higher, so I think I'm just used to gassing it more at the corners, and I keep almost sending myself to the moon. So 16.5 out the blocks for McPhee. So McPhee currently on provisional pole. I don't know how I stand compared to that, but that wasn't a great lap in a couple of places. But towards the line then, 2:15, 2:16 as well. So just quicker than McPhee, 2:63, but Fodger's on 2 red sectors. So watch out for him, and the AI do tend to improve as the session goes on slightly. So it's not secure yet, but currently on provisional pole, so that's pretty good. That could be 2 poles in a row if this keeps up. Nope, Fodger's gone top, so Fodger's taken my time away. I did say he's back this weekend. Mino's beat my time as well, so the usual suspects, top 4. They're right as you'd expect. Although, like I was saying, Fodger's not really been up to pace so far this season. Oh, crash for Fodger. But towards the line, I think it's going to get worse for him because I think I'm going to take his pole position away. Yes, I am. 15.8, so 3 tenths over the field. Interestingly enough, I've just noticed Alberto Sora in 5th place. We've not really seen much of him this season. Might have seen him at Qatar when I was obviously struggling quite a lot. Agi in 7th as well, so some riders that have not really been there so far this season seem to be there this weekend. Apparently I'm on course to improve again, but I've not got enough fuel to actually complete this lap, so I'll probably just head back to the pits. But so far I'm pretty happy with that, because again, that probably wasn't perfect. There was definitely places I could have improved that time, and luckily it was top. But it is my best lap of the weekend, I think, a 15.8, so, you know, that's always good to see. Improving as it goes on. I'm really starting to kind of feel this game now. I'm starting to sort of click with it in a few places. Probably noticed from my last video as well, sort of the end of the Season 9 video, I started clicking with that bike, and I think I'm kind of getting that same feeling here in Moto 3 now, which is always good. So just under 7 minutes left in the session, 3 tenths gap, that could be it. I think this could be our 2nd pole position in a row. So then, at the end of the session, yes, it indeed was still good enough to be top. So we've got pole position, 2 pole positions in a row. Can we make it 2 wins? That's what I want to know. But we're really building some momentum up now. We had a decent qualifying, obviously, in the first race of the season. We've had good qualifyings the whole way through, actually, to be fair. We obviously had only 2 front row starts. We got a 4th place, we got a 9th place in qualifying. So those weren't too bad. We've always been sort of up there on the first page. Struggled a bit in Qatar, got a bit lucky with all the crashes, but the AI were very aggressive. Had a pretty good race in Mandalika, made a couple of mistakes, but had a fantastic race in Termas. And can we do anything here? I'm not too sure. Championship rivals there, 3rd and 4th place. So we've got Fodger between us, but Fodger, let's be real, he's also a championship rival. He's not had a great start to the season, but he'll still be there. You know, if I have an off race, you know, Mino's already had a crash. McPhee's had crashes in Qatar as well. So, you know, Fodger's not totally out this championship with it being so early on. So the 3 riders behind me really got to watch out. And Sura up there in 5th place. I don't know what he's going to do. But let's head into the race now then, and let's hope it's a good scrap. So we're down here on the grid then, looking at Andrea Mino in 3rd position. Now, of course, the first thing we need to do is change the tyres, because I'm not going on a soft. Now, it's worth noting that, once again, this track is quite a long one. So this time the race is 4 laps. This time I understand it, because USA is always 4 laps. It's such a long circuit. You know, we're doing 2-minute 15 lap times. Whereas at Mandalika, we're in like 2:38. So we are a good, like, you know, 30 seconds would be a 2:08. So yeah, we're almost 40 seconds slower, really, at this track than at Mandalika, which makes sense why this is 4 laps, but then Mandalika was 4 laps too. Just so strange. But enough about Mandalika then now. Let's get this race started. Can we make it 2 victories in a row, or will Dennis Fodger be able to stop us?
The race officials give the okay. Riders have their eyes fixed firmly on the lights. Just a few more seconds, and the Grand Prix of the Americas is go.
I'm really intrigued to see what Sura will do. Will he try and help his teammate out, or will he go for glory? We don't know yet. We're waiting for the lights to go out here then at Austin, Texas. Lights out and away we go. I'm going to go straight across the front of the field, using a bit of power mode 3 off the line just to try and get a little bit of an early lead. So go down towards the first corner. Got to watch out I don't high side myself out this first corner though. That is something I've been struggling with all weekend, trying to not throw myself off the bike completely. Oh, we go down through turn 2. Fodger's on the inside. Oh, so once again, myself and Fodger making contact this season. Made contact a couple of times in Mandalika. And once again here at Austin. So every time there's a 4-lap race, me and Fodger have a bit of a collision. But so far, we are still leading the race. And Fodger once again hits me at the back, but there's been a yellow flag. Not sure who's down. Don't think anybody out of the top 8 have crashed. Must be someone outside the top 8. Now it's a clear track. McPhee's got at the inside though, so championship leader takes the lead of the race. I'm back at the inside of him though. We've retaken the lead from McPhee. The AI are going to be brutal here, because I can do the first sector sometimes, but other times I can't. I can hook it up on some laps and do a really good lap time, like you saw me doing qualifying. But in the race, I've got to do it. Well, I've only got to do it 4 times. That is a benefit. And there's also this big back straight. I might use a little bit of power mode 3 I don't want to use too much because I don't want to just completely bolt away or anything like that. Like we did in Termas. I want to at least keep it somewhat fair. But I don't know where... You know what? No, I said no one outside the top 8 is... Oh, okay, Mino is there. So I was about to say Mino had crashed, but he's just moved back up into the top 8. So Mino got a shocker from 3rd place on the grid, it must be said. But Fogger's retaken 2nd place then. So Fogger really looking like a man on form once again this weekend. Fogger wants to try and get his title hopes back on track because it's been a poor season. I think he's outside the top 10 even at the minute. I think he's crashed in 2 of the races, I believe. So, yeah, Dennis Fogger struggling, but he wants to try and take the fight to myself and McPhee. So at the end of this first lap then, we've got about half a second over Dennis Fogger. They will get some time on this front straight, I'm sure of it. He can bring himself back into slipstream range. He'll be able to make a pass. They've all gone to the left-hand side of the track. I think it's because in real life they do that, but in the game, obviously, the track is not as bumpy and the bike doesn't sort of force you over that way either. So it's not really much point doing it. It just kind of slows you down if you actually also do it. It's worth it if you're trying to get a toe off the AI behind, to be fair, but if you're in the lead, it's not worth doing. So maintaining the gap over Fogger currently, but my rear tyre is starting to overheat quite a lot, as you can see in the bottom right-hand corner. That's something we're really struggling with on this bike, because I don't seem to be getting it on any of the bikes. I don't think I got it in the Season 9 mode or anything like that. It just seems to be this Moto3 bike. I'm absolutely overheating the tyres, but I'm making a bit of a break now, up to 8 tenths in the lead. Although they've already took a tenth of that away on this straight. So I mean, the AI's extra straight line speed boost. McPhee's taking 2nd place back off Fogger though, so it's McPhee on the hunt again now. I've gone wide into turn 12. That could undo all my hard work. I think it has. So this is once again a scrap. It's not me pulling away anymore. Oh, almost lost the front there as well. Just managed to save it. So we're about to start the penultimate lap of the race then. Fastest lap to me, but fastest lap to John McPhee. And then to Mino. So Mino, even though he's down in 8th place, is lapping pretty quickly. And you can see it is a big pack behind. And they are closing up a lot. They're only 2 tenths behind now. So I'm actually going to expect an attack from McPhee into turn 2, I think. Although I've just gapped them a bit into turn 1. So it seems like in these braking zones is where they're really weak. That's where I'm gaining the time on them, I believe. So I've managed to extend the gap a little bit again. It's important for me that I have a decent gap coming onto this back straight, because if they're within like 2 or 3 tenths of a second coming onto this back straight, they'll make the pass down towards turn 12. And obviously with the next lap being the final lap, I've got to make sure that I'm not vulnerable to that. But they've brought it back to just under half a second. So this mistake at turn 12 on the previous lap has proven to be quite costly, because I've lost those crucial couple of tenths I really needed. And in fact, I braked way too early that time, trying not to make the same mistake. And that's brought them right onto the back of me. So I'm going to have to start riding defensively now. Fogger is running a little bit wide there, trying to get the drive on me, I think. Fogger and McPhee are going side by side. That could be just the saving grace I need, just to keep them behind. Artigas is getting involved now as well. Honestly, I do need McPhee to finish as low as possible, really, just to get his maximum points on him. This is anyone's race on this last lap. They're only a couple tenths of a second behind now as we come up towards our line then. Surely I'm going to get passed down towards turn 1 by Dennis Fogger. Going to have to use a little bit of Power Mode 3 on this occasion just to try and reduce that chance as we go down towards the first corner. I was stronger on the brakes than the AI. And so far, it still seems to be the case, because we gained on him again there. 3 tenths of a second, 2 tenths. Will he be able to attack into turn 2? He tried it on the first lap. We had a little bit of contact. This occasion, he's not close enough to do it. I've clipped the curb, though. That could cost me a bit of time. It could affect my run through this section. Fortune's virtually pushing me through this section now. I said I needed a couple tenths coming onto this straight. Well, I haven't got that on this occasion, so I think I'm going to lose the lead. If I can just try. I can't even turn in like I want to. Fogger's gone on the attack at the inside. Dennis Fogger, he's crashed in front of me. He's crashed in front of me. Dennis Fogger's down. He's taken out O'Tyler with him. We've had contact. We've had contact with one of the Bristol GP bikes. That is Artigas. I'm completely flabbergasted. I should have known who that was, because he's been there the whole race, but that's just completely put me off. But we're down to 2nd place all of a sudden. Well, we were down to 3rd very briefly. We're back up to 2nd place. We need to try and attack McPhee in the dying sectors of this lap. Up the inside though, the CF motorbike of Artigas, he's pushed me off the second. I've got to try to miss warning for that one, really. I just have to move out of the way because the AI has got the inside of me. Not much I could do about it there. Artigas a little bit wide. Same with McPhee. I don't think I got to pass both of them though, because the last sector has been the sector where the AI have been strong all weekend. So I think we've lost the lead. We've probably lost the win. Artigas looking for an attack on John McPhee. If he attacks, we could capitalise. We've got a big gap behind, so I can't afford to sit there. Come on, Artigas, do something. Looks like Xavi Artigas hasn't got any answer for John McPhee here, so John McPhee's going to take yet another win in this season. I think it's his second Obviously, one in Mandalika, they're a little bit wide, so like Nakagami last year, but up towards the line, it's going to be third place. Sadly, Dennis Foggia cost us the victory there, made another mistake. I can't believe it's such a close race. That should have been a victory. I really probably going to rue that later in the championship because I've got to capitalise on the tracks where I'm quicker than the AI. And on this occasion, I didn't do so. I should have used some more Palmo 3, but I didn't want to keep using it to try and pull away from them. I don't want the races to be too processional, and I've paid the price for that on this occasion. Really, I made the mistake on the final lap. If I'd done the first sector properly and put the gap back up, I would have been absolutely fine, but I made a mistake. Then Foggia was right behind me, then Foggia pulled a pass, then Foggia sort of lost the front. I don't know whether we maybe touched a little bit. Maybe I just tapped his rear wheel as we were going to that corner, but he folded the front. That obviously then took somebody else out as well. Not sure exactly who that was who he took out. But that allowed both Artigas and McPhee through. We got back in front of Artigas, but then he went back up the inside of us. I tried to hang it around the outside, ended up on the green, and that was it. I couldn't do anything about it. So even if I got Artigas there, I wouldn't have been able to get McPhee. But fair play, good race. That actually moves me up properly into second place in the championship now because, of course, I was tied with Mino before. So 17 points down on John McPhee now. Mino further 6 points back. Then we've got Yama Masia in fourth place. So it's Masia and Suzuki who we've also got to watch out for. Ortola was up there, but he was actually the rider, wasn't he, that was taken down in the crash. Artigas moves himself up to 8th in the championship. Watley in 9th place. Watley's AI seems ridiculously good in this game. Garcia's moved down a couple places as well, so I don't know whether he was perhaps a victim of that crash as well. But, Dennis Foggia, 21st in the championship with 9 points. I'd say he's completely out of the hunt now. He's 65 points down. That is going to be so difficult to claw back because he's not got to just claw that back to McPhee. You know, you've got myself and Mino and Masia who are not that many points off of McPhee ourselves. So he's got to claw back a lot of points on a lot of people. It's not just the one rider. He can't just have McPhee crash a couple of times, he get a couple wins because we'd all take over and he'd still be miles behind us. So I'd say that's Foggia's championship charge done. In the Teams Championship then, we actually still move up as a position. I suppose it was still a good result, third place. It's not a bad result, it's just a shame that I wasn't able to win it. So we move up ahead of Red Bull. Actually, it's not even ahead of Red Bull KTMI, it's ahead of Team MTA. MTA have moved down because of Ortola being taken out there. Snipers continuing to lead, and it's Max Racing up to second place, obviously with McPhee taking more of a commanding lead in the championship. So I might have a quick look at Foggia's crash, and then we'll head into the career hub, do what we need to do between the races, and then head into the next one. So if we look on board from Foggia here, he makes the move up the inside, but then he cuts the corner, and there is a little bit of contact as he gets on the gas. But the reason why he goes down is because he's already unsettled by cutting that curb on the inside. And really, I was about to say it wasn't a legal move. I think he just kept it this side of the curb, to be fair, this side of the sausage curb, but it upset his rhythm. We just touched a little bit on the exit of the corner, and down goes Foggia. So a bit of a racing accident, but Foggia, not really much luck this season so far. So back in the career hub then, we can look at how much reputation we gained, and we got 4,800, which takes us up to 24,200 reputation. As for the credits, once again, pretty good weekend because, of course, we got on the podium. So we gained 5,410, which takes us up to 78,700 credits. And it was a good weekend on the research data front as well. We managed to pass everything except race pace. Like I said, I did do 4 of the laps, and I was on target to do the 5th one, but then I ran out of fuel. I was using Power Mode 2. It wasn't like I was trying to do the times using Power Mode 3, so it's a little bit weird. Usually you do get filled up with enough fuel, but I guess because Texas is so long, that's probably why it happened. But we've now got 739 on the engine and 285 on the frame. Speaking of the upgrades, it seems like our engine upgrade can now be applied, a new one. So which one shall we go for? Fuel consumption reduction? Well, they're both fuel consumption reduction. I'd say go for this first one first because it'll probably take less time to do since it's a smaller upgrade. So usually they're a bit quicker, so we'll get that on the bike quicker. Yeah, it'll take 4 weeks, so yeah, let's do that. So the upgrade going on. We can't do anything on the frame, can we? No, we can't. So then we must advance forward to the next weekend, the Portuguese Grand Prix, and there's no more notifications, so that was pretty quick. We'll head into Portugal now then. Portimao, a track that I'd say in the past, but it was only in the last game, of course, wasn't it? But in the last game, I was quite strong there compared to the AI, so hopefully we can try and get back to winning ways there. Podium is still good, but unfortunately we lost 9 more points to John McPhee, whereas I could have potentially gained 9 if it had all gone right with Foggia, so yeah, a little bit of a shame, but just one of those things. But I'll head into the Portuguese Grand Prix now, and I'll see you after practice. So then, at the end of this session, it seems like we are really in tune with this track. We've got a lot of time in our hand. On top of the session by 0.8 of a second ahead of Sergio Garcia in second place. Mario Aggi in third place, actually, which is interesting. Fourth place for Suzuki, fifth for Yama Masia, but I don't know where my other championship rivals are. Where are Mino and McPhee? Well, McPhee's 30th, 6.2 off apparently. So there's something going on here. I think it seemed like the AI were crashing a lot, and I was on track the entire time I was out doing laps and then just ended the session once I'd like basically done all my practice programs. So I think some of these AI here, like Mino and McPhee, haven't done a single lap without crashing. So this might be a little bit misleading here, what you see on these times. I don't think I'm that far ahead. And I've not changed anything on the difficulty, because I even went back and checked after the qualifying in Texas to see if the AI had reset itself. But no, it is still on 120%, so it seems like just at these circuits they aren't as fast. Either that or I've just got a lot quicker, which, to be fair, is quite a big possibility, because obviously I'm learning the game. I'm getting better each time I play it. So yeah, it seems like we've got good pace here. But there is one caveat, and qualifying is wet. That is why I'm in free practice 3, because FP1 was raining, FP2 was wet track, FP3 was actually dry, so I had to do my Q2, well, the times to get through to Q2 on that session. But Q1 and Q2 are wet track, so this could be interesting. We're going to be going into qualifying 2, of course, because we've topped the only dry free practice session, so I know for sure I'm going through. So time for some wet weather. Not played the wet in this game yet, so it could be interesting. But fortunately, the race is dry, so if it's a disaster, we've at least got the race to try and recover. So here we are in qualifying 2 then, and going through qualifying 1 were Andrea Mino, Diogo Moreira, Elia Bartolini, and Kaito Toba. But interestingly enough, in that list, there's no John McPhee. John McPhee is not in that list, so John McPhee has not gone through Q1. John McPhee is going to be starting 19th on the grid at best. This is our chance. This is our chance to gain some good points with him. Obviously, Mino has recovered, so Mino could be starting 2nd alongside us. This is our chance to capitalise on John McPhee. We need to get a good qualifying here. Now, I've been playing these games for a very long time, and I do know the fact that if I want to go top, I have to do my lap at the end of the session. But I want to go out first, do a banker lap. To be honest, might just go round in power mode 2, do a few laps, come back in and do some more, because the guy that gets pole in these sessions, the wet track sessions, is always the last person to set the time, because you gain so much time towards the end. And also, I remember, I think in fact, I think it was MotoGP 20, actually thinking back on it now, because that was the one I probably played the most. I didn't play so much of 21. I mean, I still played a lot of it, don't get me wrong, but compared to 20, I didn't play as much. But I remember on that game... Oh, there's been a crash already. It's sort of me about the AI crashing a lot. There's already been a crash right in front of us. But I remember the wet tyres being absolutely atrocious on the opening lap. So your first flying lap would be probably like a second off what you could do on the second one, because they were just terrible. They needed a lap to get bedded in, which is really, really weird. And it wasn't like me or anything. It wasn't me at the start of the session, because it happened every time you put a fresh set on. You'd need to go, you'd need to do a lap, and then you could do the proper time. It was really strange. And I don't even mean the out lap. You actually need to do a flying lap to get the tyres into the right window. It was rather bizarre, but it was a good feature. So I wonder if that is probably going to be the case here too. But like I said, you are going to do fastest times at the end of the session anyway, because the track obviously will be pretty dry by the end of it. So I'm going to have to definitely watch out. I might so much touch control up here, because I've also got down on 2, because in the dry that helps me get out the corners better. But in the wet, it might be a bit too much. I think Holgado was the rider that crashed, and he's caught me up virtually again, so it's interesting to see how much he's willing to risk it already. He's not one of those riders that came through Q1 either, so it's not like he's already got that track knowledge, although it is an AI. I think I'm reading a little bit too much into it if I'm going to say, oh, well, if he's gone through Q1, he knows how slippy the track is. Because if you also played these games, you know that the track will dry up completely in Q1 and then it'll be wet again when you go into Q2. Because that's how it works for some reason. Either way, that doesn't matter too much. We've got Holgado closing up on us a lot. He might actually be quite helpful. Of course, I've not done any running in the wet at all. That was literally my first lap in the wet, and I'm surprised I didn't crash, to be honest. And it's also worth noting that the AI could be overpowered in the wet. It has been the case before, I think, in some games where they're really good in the wet because they had a supreme rear grip. So, yeah, we'll have to see. Although I think it's always been fairly level in wet track, because there's a lot more grip for the player there compared to full wet conditions. I mean, if this game's realistic, actually will be one to watch, because, I mean, he was quick in the dry, apparently, it seemed, in this session, but he'll definitely be quick in the wet. Gone a bit wide through the Torre Vip. It's really difficult to get the bike turned into that corner in any class. Just the bike does not want to turn that tight. It's quite bizarre. The rear skating away into that corner. I really like in this corner in this game. It's really easy to fall the front there as well if you do it wrong. But I find it's actually, if you take a bit of a wider line, you can get on the power and you can really fire out of it. It's quite nice. Portimao is one of my favourite tracks, I've got to say. And Holgado has just passed me like I'm standing still. Look how much he's drifting that rear tyre, though. So I'd say I'm not on course for top if Holgada's catching me up this much. Look how much he just gained on me there. So Danny Holgado looks like he's probably going to be on pole position. He's going for him. In fair play. But like I said at the start of the session, I need to do a good time because I need to start up high so I can capitalise on McPhee's poor starting position because it's not going to be that many laps. So McPhee's not going to be able to get through that easily. Oh, okay. Holgado was coming in the pits. Why did he? What? That completely scared me because I didn't realise he was coming in the pits. So I know that when they go into the pits, you don't have collision with them. But I just thought he was taking a weird line or something. Because I've got 2 personal bests in sectors 2 and 3, so that does imply I'm not going to go top, but we'll see. 55.8 is the time to beat. I'm in a 56.57. Oh, so 1.5 seconds I got to find. Fortunately, my strategy is to just keep going round. I've lost that lap though, lost the rear into the first corner. So Mina is now top with a 55.7. Everyone's going faster and faster as the session goes on. This lap was worse because I just lost the rear so many times. I went wide into turn 5. Even more than they did in the previous lap, so looks like the wet weather is certainly tough for me because I'm currently sitting in 11th place. So Fodge has now gone top, 55.5 is the time to beat. I'm not going to beat that, but I am underneath my time by about a second. So that should be, I should jump me up the order of fair amount, but I'm still going to be a decent chunk off the top time. So things like they are pretty good in the wet so far. In fact, that's literally only just jumped me up 1 position by the looks of it because Onchu was so far in front of me. So yeah, puts me to 9th place. Still 7 tenths off the top, 8 tenths even. Not sure why it said 7th on the 7 on the right hand side. So I'm going to box on this lap, come back in for a new set of tyres because, like I said, you want to be out right at the end of the session, and I've not got enough fuel to stay out for that long. So coming into the pits now, new set of tyres, fresh tank of fuel, and we'll go back out once again and see if I can improve. I'm going to try to use a little bit of power mode 3, maybe turn the traction control down as well because I think there's probably a bit more grip out there than that it seemed like to start with, and there definitely will be more grip now as the session's gone on as well. Because we really need to get a good time in here because this is an opportunity. This could be pivotal to the championship. We lost out in a moment that could be pivotal in the championship in Austin by losing that position to McPhee and losing a good chunk of points to him there. But if he starts badly, if he can't even get into the points because he's going to be starting outside the points, so if I could put it on pole or something, you know, I could get a whole race win's worth over John McPhee here. This could be literally title changing. So there we are then, 2.5 minutes left. We'll get this lap and then 1 more. So we've got 2 more attempts at this. This probably will be the bedding in tyres lap, although I did just do that on the out lap, but it felt pretty sketchy, I'm not going to lie. I found so much time on this lap. We're currently red. If we can keep it together through this last corner, we'll go to the top of the timesheets. 2 pole positions, so the Palmo 3 really has made the difference on this occasion. We're now 1.3. Yes, this should be more than enough. We're actually going to go top with a decent margin, which is interesting considering how much we've been struggling. But like I said, you do your times at the end of the session. They're always so much faster. There's just so much more grip out there. And that was even with a pretty poor first sector. So let's see what we can do if we can improve it, because the AI might improve as well. I'm invalidated at the first corner, so that's my session done. But that might still be pole position because we've got 6 tenths over Fodger there. We'll have to see if the AI improve or not. Onchu's on the red sector, so they may well do. So no, they didn't. Obviously, the session ended itself when the counter got to 0 because I'd already got an invalidated lap. That's just how the game works, so not much I could do about that. But we actually managed to get pole position in a session where I was struggling the whole time. I was outside the top 10 for the majority of that session, but just at the end there, turning down the traction control, up in the power mode, after I've done a few exploratory laps, doing a little bit of a better line through turn 5, all seemed to make the difference. Managed to go pole position by, again, a good margin. It just seems like the AI, they seem to have lost all the pace. I'm not sure what it is. Compared to the first episode, they seemed so fast in the first episode. Mandalika, they seemed pretty quick as well. But ever since Argentina, they seem to have lost a bit of an edge. I mean, I've got a fairly decent margin, but of course I did do my time right at the end of the session. Like I said, that is the strategy in these sessions, because that's where there's the most grip, the track's dried up the most. But we're on pole position then. Our main championship rival is right down the order. He's starting outside the points, so this could be a huge race. So we're down here on the grid then, looking at Sergio Garcia in 3rd position. I can't believe that we've got 3 poles in a row now. We are really finding some form. I'm kind of getting to grips with this game now. I'm really starting to feel it. Still struggling quite a bit with the front end, if I'm completely honest with you, but I am starting to get there now. I'm starting to get there, and obviously I've had the weekend to play it. I'm getting up to speed a bit more now. Obviously the game came out on Thursday. But let's have a look at this then. Tyres, I'm definitely going to go medium. That felt good in practice. I know I've got really good dry pace as well, because I was doing that in free practice at will. I was almost a second quicker than the whole field. So if I can get a good start, I imagine it'll be a Termas Star race where I should be able to get away. But we'll see. I want to see where John McPhee's starting, so I'm going to have a look at the starting grid. So McPhee is really, really far down there. I can see him on the left-hand side. He's starting on the same road as the two CF motorbikes. So he's in 21st. John McPhee is 21st position. So this is the opportunity, because he's going to struggle to score points today. And we're on pole position, and we could well and truly win this race. So we could gain 25 points on John McPhee here.
At Portimao, everything's ready for the start of the race and the adrenaline's running high. There's only room for one thought in the riders' minds: to make it to the finish line first.
Now, Fogger's going to be pretty desperate for a win as well after his poor start to the season. Obviously, another crash in Texas. Waiting for the lights to go here then at Portimao. Lights out and away we go. Have I got a decent start? It seems like I got a pretty decent start as we go down towards the very first corner. Now, there's been a lot of AI crashes throughout practice and qualifying on some of these curbs, so we have got to watch out for that. Oh, that's so much better to have that dry grip, although I still made a bit of a mistake there through the first corner onto the outside curb. But it's not the end of the world, doesn't matter too much. We've already got 8 tenths on Dennis Fogger. How have we done that through one corner and a bit of a straight on the way into it? That's unbelievable. There we go, through turn 4 then. Lost a little bit of time to him through there. But I'm leading then. Fogger second, Garcia in third. So as we were off the starting grid. Macia's 4th, Munoz 5th. Suzuki's dropped down to 8th place, so 2 of our title rivals struggling a bit, but obviously I'm not really going to be able to keep my eye on where McPhee is, because I doubt he'll ever get into the top 8, so I'll never have a clue where he is till I cross the line, to be honest. But if there is a lot of crashes, he could. There's been a crash already. I don't think it is anyone outside the top 8. But if there is a lot of crashes, or if there's a big rider pile-up, he could benefit and he could find his way through. That's the only thing we've got to watch out for. Oh, Suzuki's down, so one of the championship rivals has gone. Tatsuki Suzuki. They do tend to crash at that corner. They always did on MotoGP 21 as well, so it seems like they haven't fixed them on those curbs here, which is unfortunate. But towards the line then, at the end of this first lap, we've got 9 tenths of a second on Fogger. So this is feeling very reminiscent of Texas at the minute, so we've got a bit of a gap over Fogger, but nothing too safe yet, so I want to just keep pushing on and try and get away from Fogger, because I remember what happened last time. I know I've picked up a track limits warning, but I didn't have a crash. I could very well have had a crash there, because I basically clipped that inside curb, so I'll take a track limits warning instead of a crash there. I got super, super lucky with that. Oh, Fogger and Macia are both down, out of second and third, and Garcia's down as well. So more riders crashing out of the race. That puts Mino up to second place. We've now got a 3.4 second lead. This is very much reminding me of the race I had at Portimao on MotoGP 21 and Moto3, where I was leading by about a second or so, and then the riders just kept crashing behind. So if McPhee's not been involved in anything, he's definitely benefited. Mino's dropped. He's not crashed, I don't think, because he's still in 5th place, but he's dropped. Mario Aggi is now starting 2nd position, ahead of Dennis Onshu in 3rd, with Diogo Moreira in 4th place. So an interesting group of riders behind us, but I think we've got the win pretty much sealed now. I'm going to have to try pretty hard to lose 3.6 seconds to Aggi, I think. Aggi, Onshu, Moreira, Mino, loads of riders crashing there. Macia's crashed as well, I think. I'm trying to also watch the track and the scoreboard. Yeah, everybody must have crashed because Fogger's back up to 4th place. So pretty much everyone's crashed at this point, except maybe Bartolini and Sasaki, by the looks of it. So this is going to be one of those races where the results are going to be completely random. But interestingly enough, McPhee is still not in the top 8, so even this would still be a good benefit. I'm surprised he hasn't carved his way through. I imagine he's probably been down as well, or at least caused up him on the incidents, because you'd think he would probably have come through if he hadn't crashed. Macia's down again, so I think that's the 3rd time Macia's crashed now. But it looks like it's going to be an Avintia 1-2 at this rate, if it stays as it is. Myself in 1st, Bartolini in 2nd place. Well, there's not any more. Bartolini and Sasaki have gone down. Fogger's down again as well. That puts Dennis Onshu back up to 2nd place. Bartolini's still in 3rd, so yeah, I think they are literally crashing that corner like every lap. So it's kind of stupid. This is kind of ridiculous at this point. So I thought this race was going to be weird because I had a big pace advantage over the AI, but it just seems like they're also crashing their brains out at every single opportunity they have as well. So we're going to recover a good haul of points here over John McPhee because he's not inside the top 8. I guess what will happen this last lap is that everybody will crash except him and he'll end up 2nd place, something like that. But even still, it's been a good win from myself because we would have won anyway without these weird crashes, but we're going to win by a ridiculous margin. Nearly 9 seconds, probably more, because I imagine Onshu and Sasaki will probably end up crashing on this lap again anyway. There's basically one curb. I think I remember which corner it was from 21. I'll tell you when we tip into it which curb I think they're crashing on. So we come through turn 5 here. They're not tending to crash there. You come through this left, and you flick the bike over and right. They either turn in too early here and hit that sausage curb on the inside and crash, or they come into here and they just touch that inside curb. And to be fair, if you literally touch that inside curb at all, you'll go down. So that's how they end up doing it. But there was a problem in last year's game. Yeah, it seems to be the first one they've hit, Moreira and Foggia at least anyway. Yeah, and Onchu's hit the second one, judging by the mini-map. So, and Sasaki. So yeah, like I said, they have ended up crashing, but it looks like Onju is literally still in second place. Holgado is now second, and we're leading by 12 seconds. So it's going to be 2 KTMs behind us, 1 IO, 1 Tech 3, so 2 Red Bull KTMs on the podium. Bartolini in 4th place, so Vinti will still be happy with that. In fact, Bartolini's up to 3rd place, he's just passed on Chu. So still having a battle, even though they're crashing. There's also this turn 14 they can crash at as well, but they might not get to it before I cross the line, so they probably won't crash there. Either way, it looks like John McPhee's not in the top 8, so we're going to gain a... Well, actually, none of my rivals are in the top 8. None of them. Foggia's there, but Foggia's had a terrible season so far, so we're going to gain a massive haul of points on all the people battling for the championship, because none of them are even inside the top 8. But here we are then, our second win of the season from our 3rd pole, a well-deserved yet strange victory. So you know it's an interesting race when their simulated times don't even beat your fastest lap, because they all crashed so many times, it was just going to take them too long. So I did a 49.3, Holgado did a 51.1, 50.3 was the best lap for Foggia, and he did do a lap without crashing, so that's probably why. Only 13 riders actually finished the race. That's unbelievable. So I think all my championship rivals have DNF'd there. It's a shame. It is a shame, because I know I'm saying that it's stupid that they keep crashing, but it's just a shame because it kind of ruins the championship. Foggia at least has got some points on the board now, but still not that many. Garcia's got some points, I suppose, there. Masia, Suzuki, Mino, and obviously McPhee are all outside the points. Well, they're all DNF'd and they're all outside the points anyway, so that's 25 points on all my rivals. So the championship's going to look a little bit weird now. And yes, we take the lead of the championship then, as I expected. Only 8 points actually in front of John McPhee, so that's not an unassailable target. So me and McPhee are still well and truly battling for this championship. Mino's now 31 points behind. Ortola's brought himself back into it, 35 points behind, tied with Masia. 1 point further back is Suzuki, so it's super, super close. Holgado moves himself up to 8th place. Foggia moves himself up to 12th place, so he's now got 20 points, but he's 62 points behind, so Foggia is completely out of this championship, really. Yeah, it looks like the championship is probably going to be between myself and McPhee. Mino's still got a shot. To be fair, the top 6 have all pretty much got a shot because they're within 40 points. And looking at the Teams Championship, we now move to the top of that as well. So we are leading both championships ahead of Snipers in 2nd place and Max Racing in 3rd, obviously after a poor performance of both of those teams after their riders DNF'd. But I don't want to keep going on about all the crashes then, so we'll head back to the Career Hub now, see what we get for this weekend, and end off the episode there. So then, from that weekend, we gained 5,200 reputation, which takes us up to 29,400 reputation. And on the credits front, another good weekend because we got another win. We gained 6,110 credits, which takes us up to 83,510. On the development test, yet again another good weekend. I didn't get without falls. Apparently you're supposed to complete 3 sessions without crashing. Well, I'm pretty sure I did that, but perhaps I didn't. Maybe I crashed him on the free practices or something like that. I'm not 100% sure. Well, the one free practice session I did, perhaps I crashed in that. Or perhaps I crashed in... I don't know. I don't think I crashed in qualifying, so not too sure, but doesn't really matter. We've gained a decent amount of research data, so we've now got 487 on the engine and 450 on the frame. And because of that, we can now put another upgrade on. So, well, we've got a notification. I think that's an upgrade being completed. That's the frame being complete, but actually, yeah, we can't put another upgrade on yet. We've only got half the points we needed. So, nothing to be happening there. We've just got a new frame upgrade, so up to 60% complete on that. So that was a rather interesting episode. The last of the flyaways returning to Europe. We've started off the European season in a good way. And some of these tracks coming up now are some tracks that I'm quite good at. Obviously, all the European tracks we've played so many times. Most of the players are pretty good at those compared to the AI. Because you just play them so much, you just get really good at them. So we should have a run of races here where we can be very, very competitive. Although we've been competitive pretty much the whole season so far. Maybe we can start to take a bit of a march in the championship after taking that lead. I'm not too sure, but a weird episode, but a fun one nonetheless. So I hope you guys did enjoy that one. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you're all staying safe, and I shall see you in the next one.